All right. Oh, that's right. I turned mine way down because I'm deaf, so when I take them off, they cause feedback. There we go. Hey, Steve, before we get started, just tell me real quick, how's my audio sound? Should be a little better than yesterday. I rolled off that top end like we talked about.
Should sound like audio.
It should indeed. And while we're waiting on Steve to catch up with that request, I'll go ahead and do this. You know, Habeas, if we could cancel Lindsey Graham for anything, I'd be all about it, even if it was his preferences. Good morning!
Lindsey Grahamnesty?
Yeah, Lindsey Grahamnesty.
Yeah,
I'd throw him right on the pile next to, Habeas says that Steve clearly doesn't have enough hearing damage. Well, we could solve that with a little more range time. I wish we had more time for the range. So what are we talking about this morning? What are we opening with this morning?
Well, it's Woke Wednesday.
It is indeed.
So let's take a look at the next thing you shouldn't let your children watch.
And it breaks my heart, too, because I watched the movie with my kids, and they loved it, and
Great
it was
flick.
awesome.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that, like, if you don't cry before the movie's over, you've probably never killed anyone. I mean, because there's the whole Band of Brothers warrior thing going on there. And, okay, so here's what we're talking about.
Excuse me, which of these products would you recommend?
Oh, well, these are the tampons I usually use.
Thank you.
I prefer pads. They're more comfortable for me.
Thank you.
I always get the ones with wings.
Thank you.
Get unscented and bleach-free if you can.
Thank you.
Yo, my daughter loves these.
Thank you.
These might be easier if it's her first period.
Thank
These
you.
are really environmentally friendly.
Okay. It's not that they're talking about tampons and periods.
Which is kind of weird all in and of itself.
It is. Now, I'll be fair here. Like, I mean, I've got a 12-year-old daughter, right? She and mommy are have had to have that conversation, right? I'm not going to talk about where we are in that mix yet, but, you know, that's something that your daughter has to know about. And, you know, I can get behind this a little bit at this part. I don't want my daughter to have a Carrie experience.
Okay.
That right. You know, no. This is part of being a person. It's gonna happen, right? It's okay. But this show is not aimed at preteens. This show is aimed at like
It's
5,
aimed at
6, 7-year-olds,
yeah.
little kids, and it's this dude. And yeah, I said dude. It's this dude.
They're more comfortable
right
for
here.
me.
Thank you.
I always get the ones with wings.
That one.
For what?
And he just happens to be wearing the trans colors.
This is clearly a dude. And yes, he's clearly wearing the trans flag. Like, this isn't, you know, that shirt that he's wearing, that's not just, oh, well, it's pink and blue. And no. That is the official trans flag.
Yeah, it's this is propaganda. It is programming. It's subtly suggesting a whole host of things.
Yeah, it might as well be a dude in a red shirt with a yellow star trying to sell you a cat.
Said what?
In the grocery store. Because he's Chinese.
I must have missed something. I was reading Danielle's comment, and I feel like
I said he may as well be a Chinaman wearing a red shirt with a yellow star selling you a cat in the grocery store.
Right. That's not where I was. But okay. What I was going to say
Sweet and
is
sour pets.
What I was going to say, boy, man, I have to. Anyhow, okay. As somebody that has made some short films, and
whoops,
you just have to fidget, don't
it's
you?
It's amazing. I'm sorry.
You don't have to. I don't have to. You've even got a coffee cup to keep your hands busy. See, there you go. All right. Once more, into the breach. Third time's the charm. Okay. What I was going to say is somebody who's made short films, you don't do things like this on accident.
Nope.
When you look at that and go, oh, well, man, it's just a coincidence. No, it's not. I can tell you, as somebody who's been a director of some movies, okay, you get obsessive about what shows up on frame, about the way dialogue is spoken. It's not just what happens in the movie itself. It's all the subtext that's there in the movie. One of my favorite review channels, Red Letter Media, has this clever expression that I find very humorous. It says, "You might not have noticed it, but your brain did."
Yep.
And that is exactly what happened here. Your children might not have noticed it, but their brain did. And now it's subtly... How many people our age...
Okay, go ahead.
How many people our age cannot help, but when you got the six-pack with all the rings on it, you cut the rings open?
Yep.
How many... Because we all saw that commercial when we were 5 years old about the turtle being choked to death on a ring.
Right. And to kind of bolster your point, like, if you're talking about an amateur... low budget, short film, B movie, something like that, the characters may be just wearing whatever clothes they had handy. This is an animation.
Oh yeah, like this is doubly so.
Yeah, when you say nothing in this happens by accident, that's literally every detail was handcrafted. There was a decision made for every single detail, down to the CYMK code for each individual box of tampons on the shelf there. Somebody sat there and chose the color.
Oh my God! Sean Stryker says Baymax has only one data port.
Oh.
So yeah, it's Woke Wednesday, and yeah, remember, what was it that Disney executive said? I'm just injecting queerness into everywhere that I can, and yes.
Let's have these two characters kiss. Let's, in the background, like, I was just, wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to, like, if you see any...
Yeah, it was a good flick.
And, yeah, now they've ruined that, too. Thanks, Obama.
So... Let's get into the topic for this morning. This is what we're going to be. Okay.
Hello.
Now we should be back. Steve says right when we switched to a different scene, and that means that my dumbass forgot to add the audio to that to the new sequence, which I just fixed. So now you should have it. Steve says there it is. Okay, we're back. So the James Webb Space Telescope launched, and we're starting to get our first images back from the James Webb Space Telescope, and this is a pretty big deal. The telescope is sending us back some images like this, right? This is a comparison between you can see the Hubble. The Hubble is on the left of your image,
which is amazing.
And it's a good shot, right? It's a good image. But this is a retake of this, basically the same angle, and this is the James Webb image on the right. It's dramatically more higher resolution.
Well, look, there's...
That's a big damn deal. Like this, these are original images from the Hubble Space Telescope, right?
Right.
And you'll see that these are black and white, and that's on purpose. And then you've got this this big wide field view, and just for a little context, help you understand what you're looking at here. This one just up in the upper right hand corner, you see hundreds of galaxies. Right, nothing you see there. Well, no, almost nothing you see in that image is an individual star because of the field of view of the shot. Those are galaxies, right? Even the individual dots.
We can't read Habeas's comment,
No,
but that
no,
was
we
funny.
cannot. So now we're getting these images back from the James Webb thing, and there's a closer shot of the same image from right there. See, that's an amazing image, absolutely stunning. And here's a couple more of the first raw shots that came in. Absolutely stunning images, and this isn't just about having prettier pictures. When you're talking about galactic imagery, the accuracy of colors is a huge, massive deal. Because from the colors of the galaxies, from the coloring that we can see in the individual galaxies at a distance, that's where we get just about all our data, right? It's not, oh, that's a vivid blue, that's a brighter blue, it's super pretty. No. That blue tells us what that galaxy is made of, what the exact frequency of that blue color tells us what that galaxy is made of. Whether it's blue shifted or red shifted tells us if a spiral galaxy or a sombrero galaxy or the like tells us which direction it's spinning, and that tells us things about the composition of the space around it. And more importantly, for the study of dark energy and things like black holes, you can't see a black hole. It's that black. What you can see is how the black hole affects things around it. Like, for example, if you've got shots of galaxies that are spinning in a blue shifted direction, and then you take new pictures and all of a sudden they're spinning red shifted, then there's a good chance that you're looking at something having been changed by an external physical force. But it's Woke Wednesday, so why are we talking about James Webb? Well, we've got this article from Scientific American, of all places. Guys, I want your nonsense out of academia. You've already poisoned the arts. You've already poisoned the humanities. And now you're a deadly poison in the well of legitimate science.
Well, one could argue that they started there. They just had to be subtle. So super short version is James Webb Telescope needs to be renamed because James Webb was part of the Lavender Scare in the 50s and 60s, and that's when they tried to purge homosexuals from serving in government, which basically the article makes the point that because he was a leader, he should have done more to fight the racism. And
I mean, I think you mean the gayism.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Like, it all blurs together. Like, it really does. Okay, what's the woke cause now? Oh, okay, it's the gays, it's the trans, it's the blacks, it's the tacos. Wait a minute.
You're correct. Being black is politically and physically identical to being gay.
Which I'm sure gay people are fine with and black people are fine with.
Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't bother
I'm sure that doesn't bother either group at all, none whatsoever. Okay. But Webb had an amazing life. I mean, enlisted in the Marines and served in Congress and was the director of NASA. Basically was like top 1% of top 1%, got the job done, oversaw the Apollo program. I mean, part of the reason why we went to the moon is because of this man's leadership. And now we want to take the standards of today and judge men of yesteryear. And while that's tempting, you got to understand that's like judging doctors from 200 years ago by today's standards. Doctors really believed 200 years ago that being a good doctor meant cutting off the limb as fast as possible.
Yep.
Right? That seems horrible and barbaric now, but that's what doctors were taught back then. So, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but when we start talking about the 50s, we're talking about almost a century ago, right?
Yeah.
So what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to judge James Webb for following...
In fact, we're barely talking about a time before Joe Biden was in an office.
Amen to that. Okay. We're not... Okay.
So everything that I just kind of summarized here, because of its ability to see more deeply into space-time and than any instrument before it, the Hubble Space Telescope has completely transformed the way we often called the way we see the universe and ourselves. James Webb Telescope, often called the next Hubble, promises to do even better. Started to launch later this year. This article is a year old, but we're talking about it now because now James Webb is in the news again. Promises to do any better. Slated to launch later this year, will peer farther into the universe than any other optical or infrared telescope before it, and could show us galaxies in their infancy, probe potentially habitable worlds, and explore the mysteries of dark energy. And the potentially habitable worlds, we need those. Because we just need to send these people somewhere. The more red-pilled Elon Musk gets, the more I wonder if the whole Space One program isn't just like preparing to establish the Luna City, like in The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Let's just send
Galt's Gulch is Mars?
No, better. Luna City is Australia. We'll just dump all our undesirables on the moon. People like the guys that wrote this article. It is unfortunate, therefore, that NASA's current plan is to launch this incredible instrument into space, carrying the name of a man whose legacy at best is complicated and at worst reflects complicity in homophobic discrimination in the federal government.
Can I just say first world white girl problems? Like, seriously, that is not enough pumpkin spice in my latte.
Well, let me say this for these lefties. Margaret Singer.
Right.
Oh, here's one. Che Guevara.
Or hell.
Karl Marx.
Or hell. Castro. I mean, Castro was a media darling up into his 90s. Like
Bill Clinton.
Shh. I do not feel like an Arkansas, sir. I need you to put those jokes away.
Bring them on.
No, but seriously, it's like, okay, all right, we're gonna launch a $1 billion telescope, and we're gonna get it so high into orbit that it's actually gonna be able to get around the gravitational lensing problem. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff about telescopes from Earth where, like, not just the atmosphere of the planet, but the gravity of the planet itself affects the quality of the image that you get. And there's a lot there. These telescopes that are in orbit get better images, not just because they're not going through the atmosphere of the planet, and not because they're $1 billion telescopes, but because they're outside of a good portion of the Earth's gravity well, so they're going to get more accurate images just because of that. Okay, there's a lot going on there with physics and all that. And the thing to complain about is, oh, but we named it the wrong thing. There are all sorts of things that can go wrong with this. Like, a lot of people don't know this or are not aware of it, whatever. But when we first turned on the Hubble, it was wrong. It didn't work properly. Like, literally, we had to send up a mission to repair the Hubble. And I mean, we're talking about like a matter of centimeters in the curvature of the mirrors in the Hubble. Almost spoiled that entire mission, and we had to have a second mission just to repair it. So it's not that there's not things that you can't complain about or whatever. And if you want to say that this is a waste of taxpayer dollars, you know, that's your purview. But of all things, like seriously, there's not enough pumpkin spice in my latte. It's named the wrong thing. Hey, how about some Shakespeare? A rose by any other name. Like, what do we name it? And here's another thought, okay? If somebody has to be perfect by today's standards in order to be venerated, a lot of your heroes are about to fall off. Like, okay.
Jimi Hendrix. Martin Luther King.
I was going to say, yeah, that's where I was going to go.
Malcolm
Martin
X.
Luther King. Okay.
In fact, by today's standards, Martin Luther X is a more morally up. Malcolm X is a better person than Martin Luther King by the modern left standard.
Well, okay, I can't go down that rabbit hole because there's a whole lot going on with Malcolm X Malcolm X didn't try and pretend like he didn't have flaws. It wasn't part of his public persona,
right.
but whatever. But there's a good argument that could say that MLK would get Me Too'd if he were alive.
Absolutely.
What, does that take away from Martin Luther King's accomplishments? Are we just going to purge his name from history books? There was no history before us, damn it. We are the first generation. We're the ones who got it right. We're the only ones that matter. All those dumb old white people and dead people that came before us, like...
Yeah, there were never any slaves.
Right.
Before America.
Yeah, and I love the ones that say things like, well, you know, the founding fathers were rich old white dudes that owned slaves. Maybe trying to read their minds over a piece of paper is not the best system for governance. Oh, okay, cool. So what about all those rich old white people that passed the civil rights legislation? Do you think we should stop trying to read their minds? Because they were rich and they were white and they were old. Oh, I see. You only want to venerate history when it backs up your narrative. Oh, you want to totally have your critical race theory because we've got to teach the complete picture. Okay, cool. Well, if teaching the complete picture is your goal, how come we can't teach the positive along with the negative?
Habeas asks, what are the odds these four authors have pronouns in their bios? 420%, my man.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. So yeah, it's Woke Wednesday. This is an absolutely breathtaking scientific achievement. And what's funny is now that the pictures have started to come in, it's funny how like results change things.
Right.
Now that the pictures have started to come in, it's like it doesn't matter what it's called. It could be called the Purple People Eater.
I'm gonna go ahead and link this article in the live chat here, and I'll drop it as a pinned comment on Rumble and YouTube, so you guys can go read that article if you want to. And when you go to read the article, you'll find something, because I want to wrap up by talking a little bit about exactly what it was that he did that's got the lefties' panties in a twist.
Well, the same thing that everybody else did. Like
Not enough. That's what he did.
Well, how come we don't cancel, like, Harry Truman or anybody else that was in the government at that point in time? Like, purging open homosexuals from the State Department is a thing that happened.
Yep.
Okay, absolutely no question. Why is James Webb the bad guy and not anybody else associated with that? Like, we trust the FBI, and it was run by a weirdo cross-dresser that had dirt on everybody for decades. And that's cool, that's fine. But James Webb's who we go after. Whatever, screw you guys. Fucking hypocrites.
Spider. Random spider coming down on the microphone. Got him. So, yeah, basically the article is super vague about anything in particular that James Webb may or may not have done. Basically, what he did wrong is he wasn't gay enough. The left is angry with James Webb because instead of standing up and championing gay rights, he spent his time defending the nation as a Marine or putting a man on the moon.
He did his job.
He
That
did
bastard.
things that were useful. He did things that were qualifiedly good.
That some bitch. Why would you do your job? Why? Oh, that's right. Merit is part of the white patriarchy.
Oh, that's right. Like showing up on time.
Yeah.
If you're ever on time to an appointment, you're a white supremacist.
Yeah.
And, okay, and I think this is a good place to wrap it up. I'm going to back up just a little bit, and that kind of ties in the way that the standard is applied, and that statement that I just made. If you show up to your job, if you keep an appointment, if you put value on punctuality, which is to say, promising someone a thing, I will be at place, at time, and then doing that. That's white supremacy and therefore bad. I wish I were speaking hyperbolically and cracking a joke, but that is actually the position of the left. That is actually a thing that these psychopaths believe. So,
Habeas, don't go after Keeger. He's legit. It's okay. He's legit. Keeger said, "I'm an oath keeper. Any oath keepers in the room?" And Habeas says, "Hi, Fed boy." No, I don't think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, Keeger's legit.
Hey, speaking of oath keepers, one of them testified at the January 6th thing yesterday.
Oh, I haven't read.
Which,
I haven't read it
look,
yet.
I forgot it was still going on until
Yeah.
they flipped on the TV at work, and that was what was on. And this user, okay, testified in front of Congress dressed like a biker, and not even dressed like with the cool biker look, like the.
He didn't look like this.
No, I mean his clothes. Like if I were to be called to testify in front of Congress, I'd wear a shirt with a collar. And this guy didn't even make that effort, and of course it's all the evil Trump, and just man, terrible.
Honestly, it would depend on what I was called to testify about. If I was being called to testify in front of Congress in support of an issue that I felt passionately about, I'd show up. I'd show up in a suit, looking sharp, doing things right. If I was called in as say, for example, a witness in the January 6th thing, I would definitely just show up in the same khaki shorts and Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops.
I'd get a custom shirt that said "Let's go Brandon" and wear that. Hey, we never said that. Instead of saying hello to people, let's say goodbye to them, since we're...
So yeah, thanks for watching this morning, guys. We had going back to the top of the chat is a long damn walk. Steve broke first blood. I see Pancho Ramirez. And I haven't seen another comment out of Pancho for the rest of the show, so I hope you made it to the end with us, but thank you so much for hanging out.
Habeas, obviously. Sean Stryker.
Habeas, that dude. TPS report says the audio is so much better. Yeah, it was about time to replace that poor 7-year-old microphone.
I saw Danny, and then JDF joined us right here at the end. There was a Pit Danny.
And JDF, thanks for hitting us again. I'm going to go ahead and set us up something like a buy me a coffee or something like that, and maybe you guys can help me pay for this new mixing board.
Other Steve is here. Fantastic. Anyhow, good morning, guys. We'll come back tomorrow. Yeah, please do.
And Steve says he won't be watching tomorrow, so we need to behave. Yeah. Oh, behave, baby. Y'all be safe out there, and we love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I have to hit the button harder.